Learn more about the case against two Lubbock financial advisors accused of running a Ponzi scheme.
A federal jury in San Antonio heard testimony today from investors who claim they were victims. This is part of our ongoing KCBD Investigates Testing Trust series. Michael Cox and Joshua Allen are accused of ripping off investors and concealing their high commissions. They denied the accusations, claiming their business, Ferrum Capital, just failed miserably.
Investors who testified today described building relationships with the firm and putting hundreds of thousands of dollars under its control. They said that they would not have handed their money over if they knew it was only getting used to pay other investors. One witness told the jury back in 2022, Cox told him his $380,000 investment was tied up in Eastern Europe due to the war in Ukraine. Another investor testified Cox told him his $500,000 was going into European bonds, but to this day he has not gotten his money back. This trial is expected to last at least 2 more weeks. If convicted, Cox and Allen each face up to 70 years in federal prison.